I love people in India. Every time you're walking, they might be looking at you at first like if they were scary or something.
Okay.
And you smile, and they will reply with a super big smile as well.
Global South and Global North, who should learn from each other?
The Global South is not anymore as it was understood 20 years ago. So we play all our chances in one bet. We are talking about 1,485 electric buses, which is probably 10-15% of the whole fleet. That effort was super risky.
If Delhi and Bogota come together to create a mobility project, what could it be? In Delhi, BRT failed. But did Delhi fail BRT?
AI right now answers whatever you want to hear. So that's why we need to be careful with it. If we keep in a world where people keep asking for cars, we are screwed because politicians will give us cars. So it was very tough. I was sleeping only 2 hours every day. It was a terrible time. I was about to resign.
Today, I had an amazing conversation with Felipe. He was the Secretary of Mobility at Bogota, and he was the CEO of Transmilenio. Under him, Bogota has seen a lot of transformation under urban mobility. If you have heard about 1485 electric buses in Bogota, that was work that was done under him. We had an amazing conversation. He currently leads the urban mobility program at World Resource Institute, where we are redefining how the cities can be more safer, cleaner, and greener. I think I love this conversation. I hope you will also do. How you're liking Delhi or any Indian city that you have roamed around?
Oh, I love Delhi, and I love in general terms India. It's an amazing place. People, it's absolutely kind. And I think things are moving quite fast here in India in general terms. In the sense of technology, in the sense of how cities are reshaping, in the sense how people is understanding that there is a need of transformation. So it's a great moment for India.
So what's the vision is all about taking our users to a journey to 2047, what India would be after 100 years of independence. How do you think? So let's suppose, imagine Felipe is going into an Indian city in 2047. How does your commute look like? What has changed during that time?
So in that moment, a lot of people will have moved to the urban areas. So actually, Indian cities will look even bigger than now. And it is very important that arrival of people, it's organized and planned. And of course, hopefully in that moment, when you go out to your journey, you will find a reliable transport system where you know how to move and how much time you will expend in each of the transport modes that you want to use. So either walking or using your bicycle or the public transport system, you should know what to expect from the system. And hopefully that's what India should get at that moment in 2047. So people can use more of that sustainable transport modes rather than the cars or the motorbikes that right now are contaminating a lot. They produce a lot of noise, and then also they are not sustainable in the sense we all need to move as a society. As I mentioned at the beginning, a lot of people is going to move to Indian cities. They are big already. So Delhi is going to look even bigger in that moment. So we need the people in Delhi to be able to commute in a more sustainable way, with a reliable system, with accessibility, and of course in a safe way.
Sure. And do you think there would be around something called air taxis, air buses? Would that be available in Indian city that time?
So probably there will be some, yes. And actually there are some places that you can start seeing that kind of things. But still, the majority of people will still be moving in what we know right now as massive transportation. What it means? It means metro systems, it means BRT systems, which are the buses that go in exclusive lanes. It means the bus systems that are in the mixed traffic. It means taxis, of course, but also means pedestrian paths and bicycles. So sometimes we don't need to think that much into that technology side of the picture, which will come and it's great.
Sure.
But also we need to understand what we are humans, and as humans, we need to use our legs, we need to use what we have on the ground, and then from there we can start building our systems. So the first thing I will be worried about is how to build that network that the Delhi needs so people can commute in a better way. I hope we stop seeing people walking on the streets with the cars, everyone using their horn and not knowing exactly what's going to happen. You need to be in a safe pedestrian path, then being able to access to the public transport system in a better way, and that will increase the ridership, and then from there we can start moving in a better way.
Really nice. A lot of people have actually talked similar way where they want more walkability, more public transport to happen. But you come from a city called Bogota.
Yes.
Right? So how do you compare Delhi 47 or an Indian city 2047 with a Bogota 2047? Will there be similarities? Do you see something different happening?
So there are some similarities. Maybe Delhi is going to be much bigger, but still Bogota is a big city. It's a city of 10 million people. For 2047 will be, of course, bigger too.
Yes.
In that sense, building these networks is important, and being able to connect them. What I mean about networks, it's if you want to walk, you don't want to start walking and then suddenly not have where to walk and then have to go to the street on the street.
Yeah.
You don't want your kids to be crossing a street and a junction which is not safe for them. You want them to go to school or whatever they want to go in a safe way, all the way in a pedestrian path. So you want networks, things that are connected to each other. Same with bicycle paths, and same with the public transport system. In that way, you will build some reliable spaces. So in that sense, both cities should look very similar. Of course, there are many other differences, such as, for example, the weather. Weather here in Delhi, it's gonna be even rougher in that time, unfortunately.
Yes.
So we need also to build things that respond to that weather. So trees that produce the shade that you need so you can walk even when it's too hot. You need to make sure that those pedestrian paths are wide enough as well, so that invite people to walk and to use them. So you need also to try to build things that are specific for the geography where you are, and then that respond to the needs, right? So yes, there are some similarities, but of course there are many other differences. And as I said, Delhi, especially Delhi, is going to be probably the most populated city in the world in that moment. So definitely needs an extra thinking of how we want to move people in this specific city. And as I always mentioned, it's not about everyone having a car, because that's not living as a society. As a society, if we know we are too many, we need infrastructure that respond to the need of that amount of people. And that's why you need, and I emphasize so much, into the pedestrian paths, the bicycle paths, and the public transport system. It's not only, as some people try to draw it, about climate or about contamination. It's about that, yes. But it's also about how we live as a society, how we make sure that we have more quality of life.
Indeed, indeed. And when we talk about a lot of such things like this, so how do the data and artificial intelligence, which is being talked about a lot, play an important role?
So data, it's probably the most important thing for making decisions. Without data, it is impossible that you make decisions that can benefit most of the people. When you are a decision maker, your responsibility is to make sure that any kind of decision you're making, affects in a positive way the majority of people. You cannot produce something or make a decision that will just benefit everyone.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure that you're benefiting as much people as possible. The only way you can do that, it's if you have the right data, that it's analyzed, and that you can rely on it. So producing data, analyzing it, it's key, because decision makers need to be fast.
Yes.
And to be fast, then this is important. AI will play a key role on that, in that sense. Right now, I'm a bit skeptical of people using it too much, because AI is still learning. So we need to be careful on how we use it right now. In the future, it will play a key role, because it's going to help to move things faster, probably. There are many concerns on, of course, the policies that we need to set for AI and so on. That will probably come at some point. But yeah, right now, we need to be careful on how we use it. But definitely data plays a key role now, and will keep playing a key role in the future.
So for 2 decades from now on, for sure, AI would be playing a little more role
For
or
sure.
a better role than what it's doing today.
Absolutely. Not only in transport, in every single sector, we'll see how it will start replacing some professions, and we'll see what benefits it has, how we can use it, and of course, we will start understanding also the negative side of it, unfortunately.
Very nice. We've talked about this vision. So let me understand from you, if there is a news headline that you want to see in 2047, let's suppose you're reading a newspaper in Delhi or any other city in India. What's the news headlines for India that you want to see that day?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult question, because I think it will be something like tomorrow's launch of another 100 kilometers of public transport that will be operating for people in Delhi. And that when you get into reading the whole article, you notice, okay, this is adding to a big network that is now set, and that it's connected and that it's accessible. And then you read, oh, in 2025 in India, there were 170,000 people dying every year in Delhi in the streets. Now we move to a safer place where that many people don't die on the streets. I don't know if the number that I just gave, which is 17 lakh, right? 170,000 is 1.7 lakh.
1.7 lakhs.
1.7 lakh. 1.7 lakh people dying every single year in India means like every single day there is an airplane crashing in India. That's a lot.
That's right.
If that happens, that will be in the news every single day, right?
Yes.
Right now, it is not, because nobody really understands how critical it is. So that's why I mentioned that would be a really, really good thing to read in 2047. And it's how that number got reduced because of all this infrastructure that is built for people so they can commute in a better way.
So Felipe would want a safer roads, a safer travel and safer commute for everybody in Delhi or Indian city, I would say.
Definitely. And that's completely related to all what I've been saying here. When we talk about, some people think when you talk about pedestrians, you are not really talking about safety, or everything is completely connected. Look, let me tell you the story from Bogota.
Yes.
When I was in Bogota as the Secretary of Mobility, there were a lot of pushbacks to take a bike lane that we put on during the COVID time in the city. Because they were saying, look, nobody used these bike lanes, who's gonna be here, and so on. And the answer was always, well, nobody use it, because if it's not there, people will not be willing to do it because they will feel unsafe. People don't use their bike, not because they don't want to, it's because they don't have the way to do it. And the right way to do it is if you know you will not be killed on the street. That said, we got the bike lane, and actually it started being more and more and more used. The second question then was, oh, but you never see traffic there. Look, the traffic that you are making with the cars. So we start measuring how many people were all the time crossing the point.
Bike lanes.
And there were more bikers than cars.
Wow.
And the reason is because, of course, you never get a traffic jam of bikes because they just can go and they don't get stuck, while cars got stuck. So the answer is always, it's not only what you see and what your ideas are about how it will look like or why people is not using things. It's about if you provide the right infrastructure, if it's safe, people will start using it. So sometimes people will say, oh, but in India it doesn't work because we have a different weather, we don't have the infrastructure, people don't want to walk. If you ask someone, they will not really like to walk.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the right answer. If you don't provide infrastructure, you will never know if people is really willing to walk or not. Actually, people walk a lot because they don't have any other way to do it,
Yes.
but in a very unsafe way.
Okay, so things should get really changed in our country, I would say. Especially in the manner, if the infrastructure is provided, then it'll be a little better.
Yes, definitely. But let me also mention what I said at the beginning. I think that's a big shift that is somehow happening.
Yes.
The thing is, you need to invite more and more people, so you make sure that more decision makers are deciding the right way, are not just thinking of, for example, building a metro and, oh, I provided a metro. Okay, how people will get to the metro?
Yes.
You know, like how people can walk into the metro.
Yes.
Is there a connection or not? Is it safe? I remember this in, I think it was in Bangalore. I was trying to cross a junction right by the metro. It took me like 10 minutes. I come from a city that is quite difficult too. I mean, it's not, don't think that Bogota is the perfect city. It's quite chaotic, big, and it took me like 10 minutes just to cross the junction.
Wow.
And I'm not an elder people person. I have no discapacity. So I was thinking, okay, what if a child wants to cross this? What if an elder person wants to cross this? If it took me 10 minutes, how is for that people to access to the metro? So these kind of things have to start changing. So there are many advances in terms of infrastructure, in terms of how cities are being reshaped here, but it needs a little bit more of a holistic view, so things can change in a better way for people.
Actually, I mean, 10 minutes to cross a junction, and if you add up the time from home to that place, it'll add up like another 10 minutes, and then you're saying 20-30 minutes only just for walking to reach a place.
Yes.
And by that time, people will say, okay, I'll take my car, and that might be pushing them to not take these transport.
You're absolutely right. I don't know if you know this, but and you can try it yourself. When you're waiting a bus, this is actually something that it's proven. So there is a survey that somebody did. They start measuring the time of someone who was waiting for a bus.
Okay.
And then they realized that person was waiting for 5 minutes. They reach out to that person and ask, how much time have you been waiting here? And that person answered, oh, I don't know, like 15 minutes.
Wow.
Or 10 minutes. We always measure that waiting time longer than it really is. And the reason is because, of course, you want to use that time in something else. Yes. Because that moment that you're waiting, it's produce you some impatience, produce you want to arrive faster, it's boring. So you will measure it in a different way. So we as decision makers need to understand that all that time that people wait, or people is not able to cross a junction, or they will penalize that in a very negative way. And that's why people will decide to go to another transport mode.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to, even when they have to wait in traffic, it's different because they have music, they have air conditioner. So we need to understand that as decision makers. And that's why I use the word reliable so much, because our systems need to be reliable. People need to know what to expect from our transport systems.
Yes, thanks for that vision, actually. And because I talked about what you would want to see in a 2047 headline, I would also want to see, because I call it flip the side, what would you not like to see as a headline in 2047 for an Indian city?
Okay. I would not like to see...
Something you may be shocked to read, okay, it's still happening, for example, if there is something.
Yeah, well, I don't know, like, for example, there was a launch of a new flyover of 50 kilometers crossing a whole city from one point to the other. Those, in so many places called second floor highways,
yes,
are terrible places. Let me explain that. Urbanistically speaking, they deteriorate so much what's happening underneath. That's terrible. In terms of garbage, in terms of how people live, in terms of light, everything. And on the top of that, you don't solve anything. That increased traffic, because at some point, it will be, again, the traffic jam will be the same in there. So if I read one of those things in 2047, that means that we have not advanced at all. That means that we have done so much worse. And that would be terrible, because I think in 2047, that kind of things should be already understood for everyone. Every decision maker, politician, no matter where they come from, that should be understood already.
Wow, that was an amazing thought. And I am also very sure I should not be able to see that flyover being built after like 10 years or 20 years. And that might just shock the Indian cities for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Felipe, for that vision of 2047 that you just showed us. Uh, we would really want to see how do Indian city or Delhi 2047 will look like that you have vision. How do we get there, right? And it also comes from your experience from Bogota, right? So what do you think your experiences or lessons that you have learned from Bogota can India and Indian city take forward?
So look, I think there are some factors that are relevant on this. And it's, first of all, community. People needs to understand there is not a silver bullet, right? So you need as a community to understand what your responsibility is with the city, what you can do to make your city, your space better, how you can protect your space with garbage, with pushing the government so they really do what you need. Like, we need a pedestrian path here, we need to work in this way. And also teach your kids how to be a better generation for the future.
Yes.
Because some of us learn in a very difficult way how the future should look like, because the vision before was quite different. So we as fathers, as uncles, have a very important responsibility with the new generations. We need to be able to provide them with the right answers so they can push their governments, but also know that they are part of the solution. So community is one first thing. The second thing is institutionality. Governments need to understand and build the right institutionality. That means you need plans for the immediate term, short term, mid-term, and then long term. And with that plan, you need to understand what's your institutionality that you need for accomplish that, what kind of budget you need and how you will get it, and what kind of projects you will be developing. If you get that sense of a plan, then you will be able to build something and to make sure that you get to that 24/7 in the right way. Yeah. And then the last thing is, of course, data and decision makers with the help of political will. That I mix a little bit, because if you have communities pushing, that's where the political will start like getting to the politicians.
Yes, yes.
When you have the community pushing, that's political will, because they will have to somehow do things.
Yes.
So to produce that political will and getting the right data, then you will be able to combine these things and move forward. So I think those are probably the three factors. Just to summarize: community engagement, institutionality, and plans that work. And then third, it's political will, and let's say fourth, data.
Nice. So a lot of time this community thing it's not there a lot of time that we have seen, right? And today also, if you see it's there could be a political will, but the engagement of the community is not there. What can be done to improve that?
Well, I think some pilots, look, we as humans resist to change. Normally, you don't like things to change if you feel, okay, I'm okay. Don't move me that much because I'm doing fine. Okay. So when you try to show people there are some changes are at some cost. They will sometimes hurt some of the things that you think are right. So you will have to adapt to some other things and so on. Quick story here. In Bogota, we decided to work in a specific neighborhood on something we call livable neighborhoods. And it was inspired on the super blocks in Barcelona.
Okay.
So it was about how to work with the community to close some roads, to make sure that we count traffic within the neighborhood, to build some pedestrian paths, biking paths, to make sure that it was a place where you can really enjoy as human, not for cars. And then we start with the communities telling them that is very exciting and so on, and they were super supportive. Then we start painting with them on the streets, and they feel engaged with it. So that's the first thing that I'm saying. When you want to engage community, you need to show them what you want to achieve. What is that and involve them in the solution, in part of how you want to make the transformation. Things don't happen one day to the other, but you need to start working, and then when you are part of it, then you feel you appropriate that. What happened next actually was the community got very worried about, okay, but this is gonna make cars not to be around, how I'm gonna get to my house without the car. What about the commerce? It will suffer because of this. And then we had to came back again and explain, look, no, you will be able to access your house. Maybe you have to go a bit longer,
Yeah.
but you will be able to access. And then the second thing, commerce will not suffer, and we have proof of that in other experiences in other places, like in Barcelona, as I mentioned. And then after some point, they realized, okay, yes, actually the commerce increased in like 60, 70%. They have access to their houses and so on. All this to explain, look, changes are difficult, but engaging the community needs time, pilots, proof. Things will go right, things will go wrong, then you try again. But you have to make sure you are resilient. You are there all the time, trying. And at some point, the community will just ask for that kind of things. Right now in Bogota, after that neighborhood, there are 5 more already being built like that. So that kind of transformations, as I said, take time. But if you don't start, it will never happen.
Will never happen.
So you need to start.
Is there a specific name that you've given to that? I think something in India it's called car-free Sundays, but I think in Bogota you've given something.
No, so those are different things. There is the livable neighborhoods, which is in specific neighborhoods, some interventions in the neighborhood, so people commute in a different way, and we make sure that those neighborhoods are not for cars but for people. Okay. There are zero emission zones that are actually with a bit more of policies and a little bit of combination with these neighborhoods, and that's a different thing.
Okay.
The car-free day, it's actually something amazing. It just its anniversary, its 50th anniversary just happened. Okay. Bogota was the first city to have a car-free day in the world.
Wow.
And it was institutionalized in every Sunday, happening every Sunday. So we closed like 120 kilometers of our streets just for pedestrians, bicycles, so people can exercise or do whatever they want on the streets of Bogota. Nowadays, nobody even think of getting that back, because actually community again will fight so much for it, because it's something that people feel like is there.
Important for them.
Yes.
Wow.
So it is an amazing experience. And from that experience only happening on Sundays, now we have also car-free days twice a year during a weekday.
Very wonderful.
Which means no cars at all in the whole city.
In the whole city?
During a work day.
Wow.
So people needs to find out the way to move that day. Of course, a lot of people protest on that, say that it doesn't work, but actually numbers show it works in terms of climate, but also in terms of how people commute, how people feel better, how people can enjoy in a better way the city. And it's just also another way to show that this is possible, that there are sustainable ways to move. Of course, if we had a better infrastructure, that would be even better, but yes, we have that. So just to summarize that, we have 3 different things right now. Car-free days.
Yes.
Sorry, car-free, which we call ciclovia during Sundays.
Okay.
Car-free days, which are twice per year during a work day. And we also have the car-free night, which is even a bigger celebration, sometimes near another celebration like Christmas or so on. So people go out and see the lights of the city, and also we prohibit most of the cars in the city in that moment. Some people will protest, but that kind of things are amazing in a city where 85% of people don't have cars.
Wow.
Like Delhi, most of the people walk or use their bikes or use the public transport system. Why would you don't privilege them over all the other ones?
Of course, that's amazing, and that's a great picture that I can now imagine for Bogota. And if something can be replicated in Delhi, it'll be great, or in any Indian city, it'll be great. Adding to that, actually, so if you were talking about 2047 vision, right? So you've done BRT, you have done bikes, you have done e-buses, right? What do you think one thing that India needs for its transition or that vision 2047 that we are looking at?
So those transitions need a vision of multimodality.
Multiple.
So again, going back to our previous conversation on accessibility to metro, that's actually what multimodality will give you. So you cannot think, if someone comes here and says the solution is having metro, or someone comes here and says the solution is to have a BRT system, that person is lying to you. There is no silver bullet. And cities are not just one corridor. Cities are huge.
Yeah.
Cities need interaction. Cities need networks. Cities need that you can build more than that. Delhi, it's probably one of the city with the largest metro system in the world.
It is, yeah.
And still, you need even more infrastructure to move the amount of people you have here. So that means that metros don't solve the whole thing. They are part of the solution, combined with BRT systems, combined with cable cars, combined with bicycles, combined with pedestrian paths. So what I'm telling you here is not exactly the same view as some people have when they talk about pedestrian paths, bike paths, bicycle paths, metro systems. No, I'm talking here about a network that connects to each other, that provides accessibility, and that it's reliable and it's connected to technology as well. So you get the information on your cell phone or whatever is the tool you have to access the information, and you know what to expect from your city. Yeah. That multimodality is what is needed. So it's more, people want to really use the system.
So it's not just one network. It's not just one mode of transport, but exactly a mix of transport of the network that you talked about.
I've seen this in many places in the world, not just in India. There are places that build a metro. It's an amazing, beautiful line, and then that line, it's like the headway or the frequency, it's every 12 minutes or more. Or sometimes it's not reliable. If you have already had to walk in a not pavement place, you didn't have accessibility, you had a junction to cross that was not safe, and then on the top of that, you have to wait for at least 12, 15, 20 minutes for the next train to come, and probably it's full, so you will have to wait for another one.
Yeah.
Probably you will not use it. So again, yes, the solution is not just one. There are many, many solutions that need to be taken care of.
Nice. So we have talked about a lot of good things that Delhi can replicate from Bogota. Tell me one thing that Delhi should not, or in an Indian city should not take from Bogota.
Oh, look, Bogota, and this is very political, and I'm sorry for that, but Bogota had a nightmare time, I think, of almost 12 years where nothing happened.
Wow.
So
this is when to when?
In between 2007 to 2014.
Okay.
15. Okay. 2015, actually. Then a wonderful mayor, Enrique Peñalosa, came in 2016, and then another wonderful mayor, Claudia Lopez, came in 2020, and then now we have Carlos Fernando Galán, and all of them continue the work of the one before. But before Enrique Peñalosa, it was a terrible moment because there were no plans in the city, no projects, only people talking a lot, but not doing.
Nothing happened.
And that's a big problem for cities. As I always explain in my conferences, it's like if you have your child is 8 years and then at some point he's already 18, but you still want him to fit in his shirt when he was 8. That guy is going to be not
stuck,
possible.
Basically.
That happens to cities when they don't grow in time with the infrastructure. They will keep growing organically in terms of people and the interactions and so on. But if you don't have the infrastructure, the right public transport system, then people will not be able to move. That happened to Bogota for almost 12 years. So right now, if you go to Bogota, the city is under construction.
Under construction. Okay.
Yes, because many things are happening. Yeah. The first metro line, Transmilenio is growing to 20 to 30%. Cable cars are being built. Bike lanes, everywhere you will see something happening. Actually, yesterday, the new cars, the new metro just arrived to the city. So the city is super happy. Wow. There is a party happening all over the place. So that's great. But these things need to happen. So yeah, that's something that definitely Delhi or any place in India should not reply. It's having or choosing politicians that only talk and don't make decisions. You need people who is willing to do and deliver on the ground.
A good statement, a great statement made by you. Okay, and I would love to say that when we were doing some electric buses in Delhi, we were always seeing towards Bogota, because I think 1485 electric buses, that was next best to China, and Delhi was just trying to get as a city to be better than what Bogota has already done. So that has been a learning for us, me also, while working in the Delhi government. And on that thought, because you said, if I make you the transport minister of India today, what would be your next 100 days plan, or next 3 months plan?
So I think I mentioned this, but definitely in 100 days, I would focus specifically on the plan to make sure that I align the whole picture so the different institutions know what to do and what to expect. If you know what you are going to do in the immediate term, then you can talk with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Planning, the different ministers, and then you can decide how to execute things. Then if you have the short term, the medium term, and the long term, you can also start putting to that some chronograms, you say, like timelines.
Yeah.
You can put timelines, and then you can decide how you will be able to execute your decisions, your projects. As I said, then you have institutions, then you have budget, then you have projects, and you will be able to do that. So the first 100 days, what I would do is to make sure what is there already happening. So because there are good things happening, what new things needs to be done, how I can combine that into a plan that makes me understand what the timeline for the short
term,
medium term, long term, and immediate term is there. And then with that, I can execute. That will be the best way to use the first 100 days. So afterwards, I can really deliver. Because that's something that people expect from you as a public server, that you deliver, that you can show that you are really doing things on the ground for them, not only talking, so on the ground.
So we have a politician among us now, and you can see Felipe doing that politics in that podcast for us. On that lighter note, so when we talk about global south and global north, right? Who should learn from? I would ask actually, global south and global north, who should learn from each other?
Wow, that's a great question. Because my vision on that, it's the global south is not anymore as it was understood 20 years ago or so.
Yes.
The global south has much more to show and to teach in many ways. That now actually that sharing goes two ways. It's not only one way. So definitely the global north has a lot of things to learn from what is happening in many places in the global south. And of course, with understanding that we also need to learn from the global north, we can also keep trying to bring some of those experiences. But the exchange that needs to happen, the global exchange that needs to happen between developing countries and other developing countries needs to increase too. Because it's not only how the global north teach the global south or the global south teach the global north, it's what's happening as it's happening in this podcast, how you combine efforts from these two different, very far away geographic places as Bogota and Delhi, and those efforts that you are sharing, how they can be compatible or what you can learn even when the geography's differences are there or culturally speaking or whatever. So definitely those efforts of sharing needs to be increased. And the main reason for that is because we need to move faster. Yeah. And to move faster, you need to pilot some things, but after you pilot them, you need to scale. And if you already have some learnings, definitely you can scale faster. And those learnings are not only local learnings, but are learnings that are in other places. So definitely that's something that needs to happen more.
Right. So those were the teachers someday, and now also needs to be students.
Yes.
Again, to learn something. Okay. So thanks, Felipe, for that amazing conversation you had, building that vision for us and taking a step-by-step guide to reach out there. Next, I have an interesting segment. We call it Reality Reboot, and we bust a lot of myths around that, which is happening into the electric mobility and the whole ecosystem. To start with that, so let's so we all know that Bogota electrified nearly 1,500 electric buses. So, but what is that one truth while operating these electric buses that no one talks about? What is that?
Well, let me start saying that when I was in office, bringing those buses was really crazy thing, because in that moment there were no other cities
Yes.
with electric buses. So we play all our chances in one bet, and it was how we will bring that amount of buses and make sure that we don't stop the city. It doesn't get stuck, because we are talking about 1,485 electric buses, which is probably 10-15% of the whole fleet in the city. So that's a lot. And so it was critical. So something that in that moment nobody talked about was exactly that effort was super risky. People who were making the decision, myself putting my signature in those contracts, were like, we need to make sure that everything goes right. And there are a lot of uncertainties when you are trying new technologies on how they will behave in the altitude of Bogota, for example, because it's a very high city in the mountains. It's 2,600 meters above sea level. How it's gonna work in if we have the knowledge already or not, and so on. So yeah, in that moment, those things were not really into the conversation, but we knew, and we were of course taking care of everything, and that's why actually it worked well, thankfully. So it happened. But I think for the next steps, I think the conversations in cities need to get more into the batteries and how the life of those batteries is gonna be. So for the second life,
Yes.
and then the recycling of those batteries.
Those batteries, yes.
Because we need to reuse them first and then recycle them.
Recycle, yeah.
But the other thing we need to also understand is the new generation of batteries, how they will look like, so they are better than the ones that we try at the first stage, because of course
Definitely.
technology evolves.
Yes.
So we should start getting better quality of batteries that are cheaper too, so we can move faster on the transformation. Those kind of conversations, I think, are still just in a starting point, so we need to move faster in that sense.
But I'm sure we would get there, and Bogota has really set an example for all cities in the world, for sure, with that 1,500 buses, and thanks to you and the team that actually brought that out. And a lot of cities have been looking to Bogota when they are putting up their own electric bus fleet. So thanks to that for that amazing work that the city
Thank you
has
so
done.
much. It was, of course, an effort that was done by a huge team
Yes, indeed.
in Colombia, and amazing people that works on this.
Yes, and a lot of time I've seen that you have talked about BRTs. Like we say in Delhi BRT failed, but did Delhi fail BRT? How would you respond to that?
Look, what I've seen in the world is that actually when they talk about BRTs, they have not really tried to do a really good BRT. The real success of Bogota with the BRT system are three things that we managed to do in a very good way. The first one is that every single station of the BRT system has overtaking.
Bridge sort, basically. Yeah.
Right? In every single station in the BRT system in Bogota, we have overtaking.
Okay.
Second thing is, in every single intersection, there are 2 lanes. So we can, when it's green, we can move more buses in each phase of the traffic light.
Okay. Wow.
And then the third thing, which is probably the most important, is that every single system, its capacity is measured by the weakest part of that system. That means that if you have a BRT and then those buses has to go to the mixed traffic,
Okay.
the whole BRT system capacity will be measured by those buses that went into the mixed traffic. To make this more simple, in Bogota, every single corridor of the BRT system is connected and it doesn't go anytime on the mixed traffic. That means that the capacity increases a lot. So it's a network. It's completely connected. Those three things, overtaking in the stations, 2 lanes in the intersections, and a network completely connected in the whole system, make the BRT successful. So when city says it didn't work here or is not for this place because of the community or culture or whatever, I actually think they didn't try quite well and they should give it another chance. As I said, I'm not just saying here, let's just do BRT and no metro or any other thing. I'm saying here, combination of transport modes, it's important. BRT systems are cheap, easy to build, and actually quite reliable. There are things, of course, that there are more benefits in metro in some things, there are more benefits in BRT in some things, there are benefits of a cable car, but you need to decide where to put them and try. So my recommendation for Delhi or any Indian city is try. I think definitely it's worth to try, to do it the right way, and I'm sure it will bring benefits for people.
So BRT once again, that should be our motto now.
Yes.
Just one more time.
Yeah.
And similar to that, so a lot of time, as you also discussed in the beginning, when we talk about North India or city like Delhi, being of the extreme weathers, right, the cycle lanes becomes a big problem. And consider me as a user, right? Even if you want to do cycle, if all the infrastructure is also there, it's very, very hot. It's not like even 35, it's 45, 48 in Delhi. And similarly, during the winters, it could go around like 5 or 6 degrees also. Do you think cities like Delhi still need to have that infrastructure ready? And would that be difficult for, even if it's built, would that be difficult for people in the city to use that?
Look, yes, I think it's going to be difficult for people to use the infrastructure, yes, at some point. But then we need developers and researchers that can help on solving what we can do in this extreme weather. Actually, I had a conversation recently with someone to do a research like that. But think of the Netherlands. It's a good example. During winter, they don't really face something easy. You can see the pictures of raining, windy days, snow days, and then they still using their bikes. So I'm not saying it's easy, but there are ways to do it. And of course, with some research and some tools, we can build the right infrastructure that is needed. One good example is nature-based solutions. We can try to have like trees with shades that help a little bit. And there might be more other ways to do things on how we put the bike lanes, which direction, where, how we connect them, if we can put some points of hydration. I don't know. Like there are many, many ways of thinking it. And of course, it's understanding that there are situations that are not easy. But then also think across the year, well, if there is a season where some people or majority of people decide not using the bike lane because it's too hot, then there are other seasons that they could, and that's great. You don't only have to think for the specific moment where you will not use it. You need to think for the other moment where people will use it.
Yes.
So in that sense, it makes a lot of sense to build the bike lanes anyway.
Really nice. On that, actually, if Delhi and Bogota come together to create a mobility project, what could it be?
It will be difficult because the two cities are, let's say, geographically, of course, time zone and culturally very different. But if you ask me, I think combining efforts on this idea of having networks where you really connect things in the right way, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, somehow we do that at WRI, you know? Think of Delhi Gate, the intersection, the junction at Delhi Gate. We work on that, like reducing the space or the distances that people has to walk in between the roads so they can get faster and easier to a safe place where they can wait to cross the traffic lights. We put some bumps so cars are slowed down a little bit. And actually, the deaths in that junction reduce considerably.
Yeah.
That kind of ideas are somehow projects that were tested in other places in the world, one being Bogota, and that so the solution was not exactly brought from other place. It was built with local knowledge, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
But somehow it's an effort of a big team that we have in WRI, sharing these ideas, sharing this knowledge from different places. So that brings to life these specific interactions.
Nice. It's a mix knowledge from each other that actually builds the collaboration that comes up there.
Exactly.
And how do you actually convince the mayors and the ministers in a city or to not when we talk about sideways versus flyovers, how do you convince a mayor and a minister to do one thing and not the other?
I think there are probably two ways of doing it. One is to take them to the place and to place where these ideas are already developed and show them with the reality what happens.
Okay.
That's what you will get if you do go with your idea. It's not something that I'm taking out from my sleeve, like it will be wrong. No, it's something that it's there and I can show you it's wrong.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And the second thing, and the most important actually, the best way to convince a minister or a politician is if community is the one pushing for the solutions, the right solutions. Because normally you will listen to majority. That's the work of a politician.
Yeah,
that's the work of building that political will, to listen to majority. You want to respond to your people.
Yes.
So your people needs to talk to you, to your ear, saying this is what we want, this is what we need. So I will focus more on people rather than on the politicians and ministers. And people are the ones who should start asking for these kind of things. If we keep in a world where people keep asking for cars, we are screwed because politicians will give us cars.
Of course.
If we have new generations which ask for bike lanes, for public transport systems, we will get politicians that will talk about that more and more. There are very nice projects. To bring another example here of Bogota, we have a nice program where kids from primary school, we bring to their houses guides that pick them up in their own bike, and they start picking more and more kids with their bicycles, and they go together to the school in their bicycles. Group of 20 to 30 kids every single day. That program is beautiful because on the top of that, we teach them how to fix their bicycles, how to use the helmet and these kind of things. What do you think that those kids will do when they are adults?
They grow up. That's it.
They will remember that with so much love.
Yes.
They will know that's a possibility. They will know that was an incredible time that they enjoy with the other friends. And they will probably become the voice of the city to have that in a more, in a bigger way. So right now it can sound like small. It started like 20 to 30. Right now I think it's like 3,000 kids doing that. Mm-hmm. And it will grow, keep growing. And as I said, that generation at some point will, even without the program, will teach their kids to do that. That kind of things are the ones that are the seeds of this. Because then people and politicians and everyone will hear to that community that will be asking for it.
Thanks, Felipe, for that amazing conversation we had. Now we wanted to talk about you, what you have done, what's your past, right? So tell us about what has been your most frustrating commute till date. And what did you learn from it? That's also a good lesson that we can have.
Okay. Yeah, I think And that's probably why I like to use a lot the word reliability. Probably the most frustrating commutes that I have had in my life are those where you are already waiting for your bus, and then suddenly something happens, but you don't really know because you don't have the information. So you just know that it's delayed.
Okay.
And then you've been waiting for 5 minutes, and then you think, okay, within the next 5, probably it's gonna be here. And then another 5, then another 5, and nothing happens. And then you don't have the information as a user. That's absolutely frustrating because, first of all, you might have something important to do. Secondly, you don't know what to expect. Should I start walking? Should I start looking for another transport mode? And on the top of it, what about my money? I will spend even more money than I was thinking that I was going to use on my commute.
Yeah.
That's not fair. So reliability is a thing, and it's important. So that's probably the most frustrating thing. And that luckily should change very quickly because we have many more tools now,
Yeah.
technologically speaking, that should go two ways. One, to the user, that the user can have the information of when, where the transport system is coming and what to expect, but also the other way around to the government to be able to improve and be more efficient because they will gather also all that data, analyze it, and be able to produce new models to respond to the needs.
Right.
So yeah, picture this. If you are the government and you have a specific stop and you start seeing that a lot of people start arriving because of a peak of demand that you were not considering. If you have a predictive model already working on it with some artificial intelligence working,
Yeah.
then probably that model will tell you 15 or 30 minutes before, hey, this is not normal. I'm getting more people here. So you as a decision maker can send another bus and just make sure that people it's having a good service.
A dynamic system that you're saying.
That's the way things and technology should start being using, So that's why I say it's two ways. It's information for the user, but also for the institutions, so they can make decisions in a better way.
That's awesome. You've been Secretary of Mobility for Bogota, and you've seen some, like what I read is 2021 there were riots also, and a lot of infrastructure was actually broken down. During that time, did you ever wanted, or was there a time during your tenure that you just wanted to give up, or you felt it like that, okay, it's a lot now?
So the most difficult time, professionally speaking, in my life came during the pandemic, when I was not a Secretary of Mobility in that moment. I was CEO of Transmilenio.
Yeah.
And yes, it was the pandemic, and on the top of it, the worst riots ever in history in Bogota. During the riots, some groups destroyed the collection system of the Transmilenio. 80% of the collection system was destroyed. I had every single day more than 6,000 people walking on the streets trying to find public transport system because it was shut down and burning and so on. So it was very tough. I was sleeping only 2 hours every day because during the afternoons and nights we were working on trying to make sure that there were no more distraction. During the day to continue with the projects and making sure that the system worked. It was a terrible time, and it taught me so many things. And yes, I was about to resign in that moment. And there was I remember one day that I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I was like overwhelmed. And I started thinking, okay, this is something like when you have a very big issue in your life or a problem or you're sick, right after you're sick and you get well, you feel like so relieved. Like you remember how it is to not being sick, like you normally are not sick and you are like, okay, but the moment right after you get well is like, this is how it feels, right? It's so good. So I thought, okay, this is a moment of pressure, of a very rough time, but it will pass. So I need to be resilient. I will just need to work to make sure that my team is okay, that they can trust on me, So I started recording videos of me telling them every day, hey team, we're doing good, let's keep going, this is happening, like to keep them informed, but to make sure that they were energized too. And yes, it was good. So as I said, it was the most terrible moment in my professional life, but also the moment that I learned the most.
And on that, so everybody has a mentor in their life. Do you have one? And which has actually taught you a lot and to get away from such situations like this?
I have many mentors in my life. I've been very, very lucky, and actually I try as a boss to be like they teach me, because they were absolutely nice with me. When I was in bad moments, they were also understanding. When I was learning, they were teaching me. When I was capable, they were showing me I was capable. So that's an amazing thing. And I can mention you some of them, like Herman Lleras. He's an amazing person. He was my first boss, and he was just so supportive and gave me ideas all the time, helped me when I was going to study. When I changed work, he was also supportive. He was amazing. Alexandra Rojas, another CEO of Transmilenio. Maria Consuelo, who an amazing communicator, so I learned a lot to communicate too. You get different things from different people, like
Yes.
Enrique Peñalosa, definitely a great mentor. He pushed me to go to my master and said, you need to do that and write more, and you will learn so much, and interact with other people will teach you so much. And then Claudia Lopez, of course, who gave me the opportunity to be a CEO of Transmilenio, to be a Secretary of Mobility. She's an amazing person too, who focuses a lot on the technical side of things. So yeah, I cannot just mention one, because they have been so amazing
Definitely.
with me, and they have taught me so many things I take little things from each of them, and I try to combine and of course to try to bring that to other professionals. And of course, they will learn good and bad things about me. So that's great. How you start getting like a professional life because of all this you get from different mentors.
It's very interesting actually. So it's not just one mentor in life, but actually different people who actually shape you during the phase of life, during different phases of life actually.
Yes.
And you're very lucky to have so many of them actually.
Yes.
Okay. And you've been in India for you have come to India a lot of time, right? So what are the 3 good things that you want to see, or what are the 3 things that you like about Indian cities?
First, and this might sound a bit cheesy, but people, oh my God, I love people in India. Every time you're walking, they might be looking at you at first like if they were scary or something,
Okay.
and you smile, and they will reply with a super big smile as well. And if you ask something, they will try to help you, and that's amazing. I love that. It's really beautiful. Food, it's amazing too. Food in Colombia, in India, it's great. And I mentioned it at the beginning. I think how things are evolving and transforming is great. When you get to meetings and they show you all this evolution of technology, what they are doing with the getting internet to a big amount of the population in India, which is huge, making sure that people is really connected, and how education can be a pillar here, and these kind of things are just amazing. Like I really get amazed on how things are moving really, really quick in that sense.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I love India, and I have, as you said, I have come here luckily many times, and I have been able to visit many cities, and I want to keep doing that because I really like the culture, people, food, cities, how it's evolving. Everything is so nice.
That's great to know about our Indian culture also. And the more you come here, the more you will get attracted to more people in
For
India.
sure.
So thanks, Felipe, for that amazing conversation. We now move to our final round, what we call what the FAQ, the rapid fire round. And I'll ask you some questions. I'll expect great answers from you. So Delhi or Bogota, what's honking culture?
Bogota, but because it's in my heart, it's my hometown. But Delhi has a big bunch of my heart too.
Okay. Worst public transport ride you have ever had? Describe it in one line.
Oh. It doesn't come to my mind one specific, but yeah, like the ones that I have had to wait for hours or much more than I was expecting and nothing happened and I had to change my decision of what I wanted to use and then change to taxi or something like that and I spend a lot of money, that's terrible.
Okay. Bogota traffic in one word.
Chaotic.
One Colombian food, because you talked about food. One Colombian food that telecommuters must try while stuck in traffic.
Well, they could not try in traffic because it's a soup, so
Okay.
it's difficult. But sancocho, oh my god, I love sancocho. Every time I go to Colombia, I'm craving for a sancocho, which
Is there a soup only? Okay.
with meat, chicken, potatoes, a lot of things in there, and it just tastes so good. And if it's done by my mom, it's even better.
Wow. So then everybody would like to get stuck in traffic by that.
Yes.
Metro or BRT, which one do you kill and which one do you save?
I wouldn't kill or save one or the other. I have to say that's a conversation that it's not the right one in many cities. Both are needed. We need to stop the politicians that are trying to kill one or the other. Both are important. Both are needed in different places of the city. We should work for both.
Nice. Better headline for your career. 1500 electric buses or 1000 kilometers of bike lanes.
Oof. So I think the better one for my specific career is 1585 electric buses because that's my biggest achievement for sure. The 1000 kilometers of bike lanes is an achievement of many years of work in the city. So I cannot claim it as
That's
mine.
Okay. Delhi's biggest transport mistake.
Flyovers and metros not accessible for pedestrians and people with discapacities.
If you could airlift one Bogota idea straight into Delhi, what would it be?
Networks connected.
Okay.
Cable cars connected to BRT system, connected to the metro lines, connected to the bike lanes, connected to the pedestrian paths, everything connected.
Wow. Which Indian city do you think is most likely to surprise the world with its mobility model?
Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai.
Okay. What's one thing Indian policymakers don't want to hear, but you will say it anyway?
You need to provide holistic projects that are not only big infrastructure, but complete streets so people can really enjoy and use the public transport system.
That's right. Who's to blame when mobility projects fail? Politician, planners, or the public?
Unfortunately, the public, because politicians and everyone else move according to what the people want.
If your kids redesigned Delhi 2047 with a marker, what would they draw? You're talking about future, yeah.
Yeah, they will draw definitely pedestrianized streets, bike lanes, and a lot of public transport systems all over the place.
Who bans petrol cars first, Bogota or Delhi?
I think it's gonna be Bogota.
Wow. AI promises smart mobility. What's the dumbest AI idea you have ever heard?
I think AI right now answers whatever you want to hear. So that's why we need to be careful with it. So if you ask AI about flyovers, it will say it's a good idea, I'm sure. So
Okay. AI or citizens? Who should run a city in 2047?
Citizens, people. Cities are for people.
Thanks, Felipe, for that amazing conversation. I think we learned a lot from you, from your experiences in Bogota.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This was amazing, and it's great to talk about India and Colombia. That's just amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for watching this episode of What's the Vision. It was really nice conversation with Felipe. We'll keep bringing you more visionaries like him. If you really like the conversation, Do share this episode with somebody you love, somebody who would learn more from this. We will keep bringing visionaries like him in the future. Till we meet again, thank you.